There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Man, Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
She just went on TV and told everyone, you can go get bit by ants like a loser. Come see my hot ass.
You guys
Okay,
ready?
let's go,
Yep,
baby.
yep. We're gonna go and do the thing.
All right, guys, we're back. We're back for the Fifth Dimension Twilight Zone podcast. Of course, we're here to talk things and places and objects and, airplane crashes and things crashing in Triv's home and Jacob
And
apparently
what?
out of sync with his audio. What?
Things crashing in Triv's what?
In my home.
Home, Jacob.
Okay.
I was
Wait,
gonna
what'd
say,
you
I don't
think?
think
See,
it
this
Is that what
happens
we're
every
calling
week.
it now?
Like, I think I say something. Did I say something that Jake misunderstood? What was
No.
it?
Yeah.
I know it happens
Just
like every
being
week.
a naughty
Podcast
boy.
with three dudes talking about things crashing into Triv's hole.
Oh,
like
this
that's
sound like
a-
I said hole.
Vulgar way to put it, Nick.
It did not. Jacob is just being a naughty boy.
Gotcha.
Trip. We lost her for a
but-
second.
What else is new? Lost
Crash
Raymond
in her
too.
hole.
Yeah.
See,
Kid-
this
Sorry.
podcast wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't say something that didn't make any sense. Like cups of Uranus,
Yeah,
that
oh,
type of thing.
100%. Like this cup behind me. It works.
Yeah.
But-
I'm sorry. What were you gonna say, Raymond? I cut you off.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything except for that it took me until season 5 of your guys' podcast to realize why the YouTube version is in black and white.
It took you to season 5. Oh my god! If it took you to season 5, I wonder if anybody else realized.
Yeah, you made an offhand comment, said when we do the 80s episodes, we'll be in color, and I'm like, holy shit, that's why this show's in black and white. Never occurred.
Wow.
To me. Never
I don't know if I
occurred
should
to
feel
me.
insulted or sad.
Well, I mostly
kidding.
listen to it as a podcast.
I'm kidding with you,
not
Riz.
as a YouTube. I mostly listen to it as a podcast at work. But
it
took me
I
2 years at this point to realize that I'm an idiot.
There's no color. We just
But
thought Nick was
Yeah,
being
it's
all
gonna-
artistic and artsy fartsy and shit.
I know.
I mean, it could be.
I'm an
I did. That's what I thought. He was
Also
just being artistic.
4x3.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or
Actually, I'm not
Cinesta.
really here. I'm just an AI. I'm an AI generated black and white guy.
You look good for black and white. You look
Yeah.
better than
So
I do in
Nick-
pink.
Nick,
I don't
what's
have
this
to flip.
podcast
Yeah.
about?
It's about places and things in the world of.
You know what
I don't
it's
know, Stephen
about?
King.
It's about Bunny
Bunny.
Bunny Blake.
Bunny.
It's about Bunny and Clyde.
No.
It's about what does the kid say? It's like salt something like screwball. He says screwball.
Oh yeah, he calls her Screwball. Yeah, which for the time,
Yeah.
like that would have been a very. I mean, that was a genre into itself. Like that was kind of the
What,
screwball
screwball?
genre. Yeah, screwball.
Is that a
genre.
type of
Screwball
porn?
comedies.
No, it's
Screwball porn?
screwball
Type
like
of
a or
comedy.
screwball
No, I know.
like a Doris Day
Oh my
Rock
God.
Hudson kind of a deal. So
Like some like it
Shit.
hot.
oh, 100%.
I'm not a
Actually-
big fan of that movie. I'm not a
Really?
big fan. Yeah, not
I
really a
mean,
big fan of.
Nobody's
Oh my
perfect.
God.
Zorro the Gay Blade.
Oh,
That's later on.
jeez.
That's later on. Great movie though.
Yeah.
like what I
Um.
did there? Huh?
Yeah, I want to apologize for everybody if we like cut close. I decided to record on a night I have to work, which is not my ideal way to push everybody. So I do apologize if our podcast is like 5 minutes long because I'm an idiot and
You're fine. Don't
I
worry.
don't know.
All right, last week I pushed it because I had to get up early. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not like you have a job or nothing, I mean, gosh, Jacob has to go work. Gosh,
He does
It's 'cause
have
I was gonna go
12
work
kids
out.
Son of a
to
bitch.
take care of though.
before work, but still,
yeah,
That's
no,
relative.
no, Jacob, it's no excuse, man. It's no excuse.
I had to go pump iron.
No.
Get rid of the dad bod.
Eh,
Get
it
out.
happened.
I need to go. I need to start working out at the gym. I have a gym membership to Planet Fitness, and I still don't work out. But anyways,
I have a gym membership
Eight
to the
Planet
gym
Fitness.
that is physically attached to my work, and I don't go to it. It
Oof.
shares a wall with the bar I work at, and I don't go.
it's part of our generation not to go to the gym and have gym memberships. So.
I have a letter within
Um,
my reach telling me stop paying us if you're not going to come here.
At least they did
right.
that.
I
but-
just don't have any money in my account, so they just automatically cancel it. So,
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
but
So-
yeah.
Oh, on the subject of
That's-
exercise, the reason that we get a ring a ding girl in this is because it stands for sparkle or impressive. So she's a ring a ding girl, meaning that she's impressive and cool, and everybody wants to be her and stuff.
Duh. She's.
I just
Yeah,
figured
so
she was a
maybe
call
Angela.
girl.
No, not in this case.
She's a ring a ding girl, and her name's Bunny. It sounds like she's a call girl.
Well, at
I'm
one
just
point,
I'm just saying.
at one point, there's a line that's something like she tells Bud to call her Bunny and
Bud.
not Aunt Bunny because it sounds like the house mother for a Playboy club.
Yeah, I caught that.
Well, I mean, when in Rome,
Yeah.
go bang your nephew. Is that what they do in porn now?
Oh God. No, well, I mean, I don't know.
No, it's usually like your stepsister.
Those are my algorithm.
Oh,
Oh, oh, we're off to a banger of a
oh,
start.
oh, she said the thing. She said the thing. Anyways, so the episode we're talking about today is season 5, episode 13, called Ring a Ding Girl. Directed by Alan Crosland Jr., written by Jacob Stan, which is Earl Hamner Jr.
Yeah,
So surprisingly,
dog.
an episode.
that's my dog.
With
stands-
exception of fucking Jess Bell.
Yeah,
Can't win
this
them all.
episode is I can't win them all. I mean, as we've learned.
Yeah.
Just wait till we get the black leather jackets and the
write
bewitching
that?
pool. We'll have yes, he did.
Or the bewitching pool.
He has a
He wrote a lot of.
yeah. He
Well-
wrote. He wrote over. He wrote over. He wrote stop over in a quiet town, which is a really good episode actually. But yeah, he wrote 2, 4, 6, 8 episodes of the Twilight Zone before going
Wow.
on to the Waltons.
And
It's
this
Charlotte's Web.
episode has a reference to the Waltons, despite being before the Waltons.
That's
He
right.
does?
Does it really?
I
Yep.
missed it.
Tell us
when
more.
Bunny and her sister are talking, Bunny says, I remember when we were growing up and would yell goodnight to each other across
yeah.
the house.
Good night, Paul.
And he used
Mom.
that later
Night, John
for
boy.
the Waltons. He used it in this first.
They
Do
also
do that?
have
I haven't watched
Good night,
all the
John
Waltons,
boy.
but they do that every episode.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the
I think
closing
so.
credit. Well, maybe not every. There might be
There's a lot.
one vanity episode where they don't or something, but yeah, that's
Oh.
the closing credits is them saying goodnight to each other. But he introduced it first in this. He that's how they
Interesting.
said goodnight to each other when they were children.
There's also a
Right.
reference to the last night of a jockey. And I doubt you'd notice it, but the headline in Bud's newspaper reads jockey banned from all US tracks.
Oh,
Man, I don't know how you read that newspaper. You can
I
barely
can't
read
say.
the newspaper. in any-
I didn't. It was one of the trivia points.
Damn it, Triv! I was expecting you to read the newspaper.
I know.
Gosh.
I can't
let's just
read.
go with that. She read the newspaper.
Okay, I read the newspaper.
Yeah,
I went
Oh,
back
it
in
just
time.
sound like
Found the
Triv read the
newspaper.
newspaper.
Be on an episode without mentioning it. The radio
the
host
4K
at the end
version.
of the episode was in 2 episodes of Touched by an Angel. Yay!
Okay.
So
I'm seeing a theme here.
so we got
Nick
yeah, we
is
got
always
Touched by an Angel,
Nick is always
Simpsons.
the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons.
That's right.
Raymond is always
Jacob is
touched by an
always-
angel.
Right. Jacob is
I'm
always
always
a Tales from the
porn.
Crypt.
Yeah,
I
Tales from the
think
Crypt
Yeah,
this
is
porn.
is
better.
the last Touched by an Angel episode, though.
I'm just literally random crap. So
Yeah.
Corn.
corn. Yeah, that's true.
Corn.
Oh yeah, you're
Is
corn.
in the
corny.
weirdest episode of Touched by an Angel, a woman steals part of Einstein's brain to clone him and have a baby. Because when Einstein died, they chopped his brain into like 500 pieces and gave it to
Yeah, that's true.
university.
That's true.
So
Sounds
Luckily,
like
we
an
don't have to
X-Files
worry
episode.
about.
It's an anti-cloning episode where she wants to have a baby with Einstein so that she can have Christmas. And then God tells her that Einstein's Jewish, you can't have Christmas with him. So he creates an angel in front of her with Japanese orange blossom leaves in order to convince her that cloning is wrong.
I need to watch this show. It says I'm
Sounds like
missing.
X-Files.
And
Yeah,
also
right?
we find out that
This is not what I thought that's what I
the
need to watch.
day Einstein died, some janitor drug him outside to talk to a Japanese janitor that survived Hiroshima and Nagasaki in order to make
Well, there you go.
Einstein feel bad for creating nuclear weapons.
Oh.
So
Well, you know what? One thing we don't have to worry about in this episode, they didn't break apart Bonnie Blake's brain because she was,
I don't know. She quite did something in this episode. I gotta ask you guys, like, after a couple episodes, Jay or Rami, you always tell me your opinions on somehow I keep forgetting that, because I usually tell you like where we rank them and stuff like that, and the last couple episodes have not been good, at least in my personal opinion, and I don't know. I actually really like this episode. It's very Twilight Zone-y. It has a lot of great moments. It does get a little okay. Her in the ring, all that stuff, like repeated over and over and over. But I think for 25 minutes, I think it does a pretty nice job. What do you guys think?
I think the ring stuff
do you-
accelerates at the end. I was watching part of it as we were talking before we went live. And by then, she's looking at this freaking ring every 2 seconds to give her advice or help her or whatever. Oh, by the way, I'm Raymond Smith. We didn't do proper intros today because
Oh, they know who you
are.
very soon. Hi.
I know.
Hello.
Yeah, I requested to be on this episode. Give it, in case people didn't like it,
He'll
give
be
it
at
a little
gunpoint, people.
push. And yeah, Nick's a little frazzled. When last week I sent him a message and said, "Oh yeah, I don't like 90 Years Without Slumber." He's like, "How do you know what episode we were talking about?" Like, because I know what episode
Yeah,
what order the episodes come out in. Like,
this shows you my state of mind and being right now is just so sporadic and out there. It's like, hey, why don't we record an episode on a Monday when I have to go to work on a Tuesday? It's just like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. And I wake up at 9 o'clock at night going, I would hate my life, that type of thing.
But we love you.
Yeah, I'm sure you
this
do.
is the episode I like. I wanted to be on this one. Partly so I could talk to
I really
Jacob
like this.
about
Like
the Walton's
I
episode.
kind of love this episode.
Connection, and
I know.
also it's so interesting of what actually is going on. Like, she's not a ghost because she's not dead. So what is astral projection? Like, what actually? We'll get into the plot here shortly.
Well, that's the question that really bakes your noodle, is like, at what point did she go from plane crash? I'm just gonna spoil. What point did she go from plane crash? What point was she ever in this town? Like that's the crazy thing about this episode.
I think it was a projection.
I don't know.
I
So
think
you
the
don't think she
second
was ever in the town?
I would say the second that she left LA, like she was projected,
She was on that
or
plane.
she was on the plane, or whatever,
Well, she
one
left
part of
LA
her
on
was
the
on
plane.
right. I know, but from the second that we see her leave her dressing room, bedroom, whatever, like split entity. Part of her was one place, part of her was another.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, she interacts with people. She has physical back and forth. The doctor checks her over. She gives her coat to her sister. There's all of those moments.
I don't think she. I think she puts her. No, doesn't she put her coat on the chair herself? Isn't that like part of their conversation?
She does, but then she gives it to her sister at the end,
Oh,
in place of a raincoat.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So
Oh, we can't hear you, Nick.
Yeah, I know. Would have been interesting to have her die on like the same plane as like Richie Valens and the Big Bopper. That
would have been a
it
small
wouldn't have been
plane.
Well, that's true. I mean, she is like a a rich person, like an actress, so she could have been on the same plane.
She's flying to
True.
France.
Why would she be in
She's
Iowa?
doing a nonstop from LA to France, which is an insane.
It could have been a layover. Say we have this plane available to you. You never know. I'm just saying.
I know. But in the beginning, she asked her assistant, do you know where this town is? And the assistant sarcastically says, yeah, who doesn't? Like, do you know where Nowhereville, Iowa is? Like, yeah, who doesn't? Everyone, like, well,
Butthole,
you're gonna
Iowa.
see it as we fly over. You're gonna see
Well, I
it
mean,
from
I
above as we
but the
fly
thing
to
is,
France.
I think that she could have honestly been a little bit sincere in there for the simple fact that because she has such a connection to her hometown and they love her so much, it could be like, you know, that kind of a place. And back then that was a thing that they played up, like, you know, this, you know, hometown girl, you know, goes to the big city, gets it big. That is something that was done.
I meant to mention that this production code 2623. The really interesting thing about 60s television is the fact that they have episodes that air 2 days after Christmas. So December 27th, 1963. You know how most TV shows, like when we were growing up, would have like a 4-week lull during the holidays. So you
least.
would get like no new episodes. Yeah, of like 4 to 6 weeks or whatever, maybe more.
Yeah.
Here it's like, no, we're just gonna barrel right through the holidays and have episodes per, every week. And so I guess why they were able to do like 85 episodes a season. But
Did there
it starts
did there other Christmas episodes come out on Christmas, like Night of the Meek and shit? Do you remember?
I think
It
they
may
were
have.
around. They were around Christmas, but not specifically. Like they didn't, you know, if they aired on Tuesday nights, they didn't air like
They
especially
didn't
on
like do a
Christmas.
special
No.
edition where they came out on Wednesday instead or whatever.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So.
Night of the
Okay.
Meek came out the 23rd of December, but it stars Maggie McNamara, I can't pronounce these names. Mary Munday,
Mary.
David Macklin, Betty Lou Gerson. Betty Lou Gerson sounds familiar. She wasn't. She was in Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, she was. She played Sweet Pete. Are you having troubles, Jacob?
I guess.
Hey, I see.
Hey.
Welcome and bienvenue. Come on in.
What did I tell you about? What did I tell you about breaking the fences at the park, Jacob?
Breaking the what? Fantasies.
He's
of
wearing the
Park.
T-shirt. He doesn't get the joke.
So
Oh.
this is a Christmas episode.
No, technically, it's not a Christmas episode. It's technically before Christmas.
It's the closest they had to a Christmas episode, all right? So that's weird.
90 years without slumbering would technically be the Christmas episode, I guess.
Yeah. God,
But
what
like I said, that's a
boring
terrible
Christmas.
episode.
Where do you guys put that? You didn't tell me. All I know is I hated it.
Which one? The
Last
I think we put it
week.
in I think we put it in the 50s.
Yeah, we put it pretty high.
Well, it was more based on
That's
the,
because
like,
I was.
well, the conversation was really good on that one.
Oh, I hated that
Yeah.
episode. It's so boring.
What episode?
I just last
90
week.
years of slumber without slumber.
90 Years a Slave. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it? I don't
Anyway,
remember.
ring
What
a
was
ding
that?
girl.
Sorry,
Edwin.
this it has a production code and is about a girl named Bunny Blake.
Bunny.
No, it's about a girl named
Bunny.
Ring-a-Ding Girl.
Yeah,
She's just a
exactly.
Ring-a-Ding Girl. She's a 50s or 60s prostitute with call girl.
Look, if you're gonna
situations
call her
and-
stuff, don't call her a fucking prostitute, man. That's not what a ring a ding girl is.
I don't know. I mean, it is the 60s. I mean, you never knew. They're saying that stuff like screwball and stuff like that. So
That was the
You never
terminology at the
know.
time. There was a whole genre based around screwball comedies.
I still
Sure.
use that
Well,
term.
but that has nothing to do with why you're saying screwball,
Daily.
though.
Yes, it is. They said that she's a screwball. That was a term for someone that's a goofy asshole. That's nothing to do with porn or call girls.
I don't know. I mean, it is the 60s. It was a weird time.
So is the 2020s.
Well, no, it's just a hellish time right now. Isn't it a weird
Calm
time?
down, or I'm going to turn this car around.
Anyway.
And no one's going to Disneyland.
Ring a ding girl.
No, that's next week. You gotta wait for next week to say that. No, yeah. So Ring-a-Ding Girl is about a young woman named Barbara Bunny Blake.
Bunny.
Say that 3 times fast.
Bunny.
It's about Bunny. She's a hometown hero of Howardsville, Virginia. She is a woman who is a starlet of the 60s, very famous, lives in Hollywood, and she receives a ring from her sister, and she starts seeing stuff in the ring. Please come home, Bunny. Please come home. We need you. And yeah, that's kind of how it starts before she gets on a plane and goes to Howardsville, Virginia.
How would our friend Mr. Rod describe Bunny if he were to do an opening narration
Probably animated.
entirely dedicated to describing her?
I guess he would do it like this. Introduction to Bunny Blake. Occupation, film actress. Residence, Hollywood, California, or anywhere in the world that cameras happen to be grinding. Bunny Blake is a public figure. What she wears, eats, thinks, says is news. But underneath the glamour, the makeup, the publicity, the buildup, the costuming is a flesh and blood person, a beautiful girl, about to take a long and bizarre journey into the Twilight Zone.
Good read as always, good
All
sir.
Good job,
right.
good job.
Half my job.
So, Bunny Blake, very attractive woman, works for the Hollywood system. It goes back to her hometown and it says she was supposed she's I should have taken better notes. But though she is due to film a movie in Rome, she makes an impromptu trip towards Howardsville. So clearly this is an episode that is going to slowly reveal its hand or reveal its cards to the public, to the people watching the episode. And I gotta ask you guys, using the ring as a MacGuffin, I guess you could say, with the things she sees and how this story starts to kind of slowly reveal what it's doing, how she is attempting to save people that she doesn't realize she's saving. What do you guys think about like the story structure to this episode? Like the MacGuffin, the idea of what she's doing, how the story's being written, stuff like that. Because like I said, I really like what this episode is doing. And once again, I do think the ring is used a little too often, but I think compared to a lot of stuff we've seen recently, I think this is actually probably one of the better episodes we've seen in quite a while.
Did her sister remember sending her the ring? Did
Yeah,
send
she
the ring?
remembered.
Okay.
She
Yeah, they talk
Yeah, they
about
talk
it
about-
later in the episode that every person in town donated $1 towards the ring and gave her sister the
How did I miss
overall
that?
power to design and send the ring.
How did I miss
Did they
that?
buy it from Needful Things?
Probably. That would be hilarious.
I don't know. I didn't really give the ring much thought. I mean, it did. They kind of used it a few times throughout the episode. I don't know. Is she really? Is it the ring or is it her? Is she like seeing these premonitions? Or I mean, I didn't mind the ring being the vessel that she used to have her premonitions, I guess, but it was fine by me. I mean, I didn't really look at it as like the ring is the thing. I think maybe she just used that. She was seeing this stuff. She was just seeing it in her head through the ring, I guess.
This kind of felt like I think that when she left LA, I think that she knew, like when she got the ring and she had the first premonition, she knew exactly what she had to do, and like each time she looked at the ring, it took her in the direction that she needed to go. So I think from the offset, she kind of knew what was going on. She knew that she needed to go, and every time she was given the person that she needed to go talk to, that's a person that she went to talk to, and she kind of bullshitted her way through the rest.
Yeah, did she know? I mean, is this something else I missed? Did she know what was going to happen? Because by the time the end came about,
I
felt like she knew.
honestly-
Maybe she just
Very
kind of-
unclear.
She was experiencing it, I guess.
Well, I think she finally figured it out when she saw herself in the ring and she saw I think once she heard the plane crash or when she heard the phone call, I think that's when she finally, it's kind of like the Sixth Sense moment. You know, spoiler alert for a 20-plus-year-old movie. But once he kind of figures out that he was shot, because of the blood on his shirt. Same thing here. I think once she saw herself and she heard the plane crash on the phone or whatever, I think that's kind of when she knew. But for the time being, she didn't really know because, there's this idea of like, when you're going to die, you don't realize you're dead till like the last minute or some shit. That's what I don't know.
Yeah, at the very end, her last thing, she looks in the ring and they're like, buckle up, and someone says there, aren't you scared what's gonna happen? And she just says, isn't everybody? And so it's kind of a like, are you afraid of death? Like, yeah, we're all afraid to die moment. So, but she does it on the plane, even though she's not on the plane in our reality, so it's kind of murky, but
Personally, I would say I think she knew about it, at least in some way, shape, or form. There's little lines like she said that she's stealing minutes early on. And the stuff like that makes me think that she was fully aware of how she was doing it. The way she was acting, the show that she was putting on.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that she understood
was
it.
she fully Well, no, the question is like, once I go back to the Sixth Sense, was she truly fully aware of it, or was she in like a denial state? You know, sometimes you'll be, you know, if you ever watch like What Dreams May Come, there's a point where the woman, when she commits suicide, she isn't fully aware she's dead. So maybe there's a point where
Well, she's not dead.
what's that?
She's not dead. Well, in this, she's not. I know what you're talking
She's
about.
not.
Dead.
Yeah.
I
In
think
this,
she
she's
knows-
not
Well,
dead
but
yet.
you know what I mean, yeah.
I think she knows
Yeah.
she's projecting, and she's trying. I think she knows she's on the plane and she's split projecting whatever she's doing. Know if she knows she's gonna die. Maybe she suspects. I don't know.
We're a ways away from it, but the ending narration does like give you a hint that like some people have a part of time where they can live outside of the reality of your journey through life. And so it's a whole thing. So I was trying to explain this to my roommate, like, she's not a ghost because she's not dead yet. So
Maybe she's asleep on the
it's-
plane and
but she's not asleep on the plane because we see her
Talking to her agent. or whatever.
talking to the ring at the end, that they're like,
Oh.
we're gonna crash and all die, aren't you scared? And she's like, we're always all scared we're gonna die. So she's wide awake when the crash happens, and it's so confusing. Which is why me and Nick both liked the episode, because it's such a interesting conversation to have of like what
Yeah,
exactly
I like the
going
fact
on
that
and
it-
stuff, and like her
Whoa.
sister thinks she's being rude and
yeah.
look at me, but she's actually secretly saving everybody and being not the most non-selfish any entity in the history of humanity has been. When her sister's calling her selfish, she's actually being the most unselfish. And it's such an
Well-
interesting thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. That's why I want to be on this episode.
Why not?
Well,
not
no,
get
I
on the
mean,
plane?
you could also what's that?
If she knew that the plane was going to crash, why would she get on the plane? So I don't think she knew the plane was going
Well,
to crash. I think she knew she was projecting. I think she kind of realized it as it was happening. It was like, okay, this is what's going on. I think she knew from the thing, okay, something bad is going to happen, and I need to help them. And somehow she split herself off or whatever.
She clearly didn't see Final Destination, Jacob. The woman in
first or
22
last.
did. Yeah. The one that I think ran in your first episode, she clearly did see Final Destination. She didn't watch it here. She's like, I'm just gonna get on the
She
plane.
inspired it.
Yeah,
Very
it did.
possibly.
She didn't see room for one
Um,
more episode 22.
Right. That'd be
That
the
was
ultimate like
inspiration for it, wasn't it? Wasn't 22 the inspiration for the
yeah,
plane
it was.
part?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
So-
it could also be a kind of a take on like when you know how you always have regrets about, like, for instance, if you never go back home, or I'm not saying you guys, I'm just saying in general that people have regrets about not spending enough time with their family because they're too busy with work. That could also be a play on that here. You know, maybe Earl Hamner Jr. guy's idea here about making sure the Waltons are a family and they, you know, say goodnight to each other. And, you know, I know, Raymond, you mentioned something about that, but it could also be, you know, it's play on, like, you know, always remember family is there for you or something like that. And, you know, make sure, you know, the last minute could be the last time you ever see them or something like that. You know, you never know day from day.
That is true.
It's very complex. Very complex.
Well, and I
I'm
think too
crying
that, like, you know, she when as she goes along, whether she's like consciously aware of what she's trying to prevent, or whether it's like there's something bad that's going to happen at this picnic, I need to like get people away from this or whatever. Like, you know, the town
Yeah.
has done so much for her and been there for her, and she loves it so much. Whatever the cost, she wants to be the one to save her people.
Yeah,
That's
she
what I like
does
about
say
people
that her
live.
big start was winning the local beauty contest, and that led her to another beauty contest, which led her to another, which led her to be a Hollywood star. So if it wasn't for the Founders Day picnic that she's actively trying to stop for reasons unknown to everybody, she wouldn't be in the situation to stop it to save everybody. So it's a big circle of just small town nonsense, I guess.
I liked how the
Right.
episode like framed her to be this uppity kind of socialite Hollywood type. Didn't give a damn about anybody else. And then in the end, we find out, oh wait, no, the whole time she was trying to help everybody and save everybody. Which we got glimpses of that, but we didn't know, or I didn't know, it was going to be as selfless as it ended up being.
Jacob, you have the least memory of some of these episodes. How do you think it was going to end? Did you have like a thought, or were you not really thinking about it, or what?
I didn't think about it too much. I thought obviously I thought something bad was going to happen at this picnic thing they're having, and she was trying to get everybody away from it. And I thought maybe it was probably going to be like a fate thing to where whatever was bad was going to happen either way. I didn't know that she was going to end up, plane crash and
Being basically a fucking angel that saves the whole town.
Yeah, I
See,
didn't
they
see
got
that
touched by an
ending.
angel.
Oh
my gosh,
an
they got
angel. There you go. I
Yeah.
tried not to say it, but I couldn't help it.
Touched by an angel in a treehouse of
Touched
horror.
by an angel, everybody, and save the world.
There you go.
There you go.
So,
Actually, so I think I asked, but I never. Did you guys like? I know Raymond, you really like this episode, of course, but like Jacob, did you really like this episode? I mean, your opinions are somewhat different than mine a lot of times on these episodes, but did you like the episode? Triv, did you like the episode? I never got to actually ask you guys that question.
I very much enjoyed this episode. It's one where when it first came on, it's like, oh, it's that episode. Like I didn't remember the episode name or I didn't remember the episode from the name, but the moment it came on, I remembered it, and yeah, it's always one that I've enjoyed. Watching it critically, I do have some questions based around stuff, but yeah, overall, like the overall idea is solid. The acting is solid. It can get a little melodramatic, but I think that works within the context of what it is. So anyway, Jacob,
Yeah,
your thoughts?
if
Oh,
you
good, sorry.
I was gonna say if you really think about it too hard, it might fall apart a little bit. That's the
Oh
only
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind
you
of.
did say it had like rewatch value though, when you know what's
Oh yeah,
happening.
no,
When you go back, you're like, oh, that's why that happened. That's why
Yeah.
that happened.
I
And
mean-
it's a very well plotted out idea.
I would agree. Like I say, I think there's a really good idea at the heart of this. I think there's moments that it tries to be a lot of different things, and I don't think it ever commits 100% to either one of those. But I think like those are small things. Like the main thing with Bunny works throughout. Some of the smaller things don't, but yeah, the grand scheme it works. And yeah, it's like we talked about with Sixth Sense. If you go back and rewatch it, there are moments where you can see she's hinting at what's coming. And I think there's some solid writing in here that give it that, like, those legs.
I haven't rewatched. I mean, I haven't rewatched it knowing what was going to happen, so I can't speak to that. But I could see this episode having a lot of like those, probably a lot of the things she says, especially hearing you guys say them because you guys knew it was going to happen. Like, would probably be interesting to rewatch this episode. But honestly, the episode was fine for most of it. And the last few minutes, the last, say, 10 minutes or whatever, 8 to 10 minutes, made the episode for me. I mean, that kind of retroactively made the rest of the episode better. Because, I like I said, I liked how they framed her as to someone who didn't remember the episode at all, framed her as kind of like a stereotypical Hollywood ass. Expected everything on a silver platter, everybody to do everything for her. But actually she was, just doing a selfless act. And I like how the end worked, how they executed the end. I thought was done really well. Like where she's like goodbye, and like nobody hears her, and then she just walks out into the rain. I thought that was pretty neat. And I think the episode lends itself to a lot of conversation, which we're having and gonna have, because it's just vague enough in some spots to like really make us say, well, I wonder why, or how this happened, how that happened, or why that happened. But like Triv said, there are a couple of spots where I'm like, and knowing what I know now, why'd that happen? There's a couple of places, like, I mean, my chief among those in my mind is I don't, and once again, this goes to why I don't think that she knew that the plane was going to crash. I think she just knew something bad was going to happen there. When until she was on the plane that she realized, oh shit, this is the bad thing. because why would she have gotten on the plane? Or why would she not have tried to stop the plane, So, but yeah, there's some other curiosities here or there. Why
Well,
was she
let me
passing out?
maybe because of
you have
the
any
shock.
ideas?
I mean, it says she has a seizure, but I mean, maybe it's the shock of the situation. Like when you have people telling you through a ring that, "Hey, Bunny, don't be doing
Well,
this," or "Hey, Bunny, do this." It's like maybe the ring gives her a seizure or some shit. I don't know.
maybe. I thought that was going to have more relevance to the story. If it did, I didn't catch it. But
No
because she
one knows
passed
how
out
magic
a couple of
rings
times.
work, Jacob. They
Well, I
can
mean,
do
yeah.
anything.
I know how the Lord
Ring.
according to the Rings of Power, we can find out how the ring
Oh no,
works.
no.
No,
You
not.
shut your mouth.
No, you said how did magic ring
Not
work, and I
according
said
to
Rings of
Rings of
Power part
Power.
season 2's out.
You referenced the
Woo!
wrong thing.
I know.
Oh,
I've been hearing really bad things about that. But no, in all honesty, I think the question I have that kind of I wonder about is did she what was her being, her mind state in the plane on the plane, or did she somehow in the Twilight Zone fashion, her brain transported to Howardsville, Virginia? So therefore she thought she didn't realize that she was on the plane and she
You know what
thought
I
she
would
was
like?
in the town.
What I would have thought was cool, and probably given a little bit of clarification, which I mean, it's not. I think it's supposed to be vague, but I think it would have been cool and cool for a rewatch if and probably lent itself more to the whole projection thing. If like no one ever touched her, like she never opened a door, she never physically interacted with anything in the episode, like
Oh,
any
you mean like
people or any
what's
doors or anything.
Like
Sixth
Sixth
Sense
Sense.
almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
If you
Except
don't want to
she's
go
talking to
that
everybody.
far, if you
And I
don't want
think
to go
that would be
that far,
neat.
what about if, like, when she leaves, like at the end when she disappears, she just disappears into the rain. What if we just see her blink out in the very beginning, and then she blinks out at the end? At the beginning, we think, oh, that's just an editing choice that she left. And then when she does it again at the end, it brings you back to the beginning of, oh, she wasn't ever on this plane or trip or whatever you want to call it. And you don't need to go through the whole don't have her interact with people Bruce Willis thing. You can just
Well, I wanted her to enter. I think it'd be neat that I think people should be able to see her
yeah,
and
yeah,
communicate with them.
yeah.
I just don't. I think it would maybe lend something to the projection thing if like, which I mean, who the hell knows how projection works if it even does? But I would think that maybe she wouldn't have like as much of physical like corporeal form. Nobody can see you. You're almost like a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean,
Yeah.
who says that's what this is? But she has projected her, in my opinion, she has projected herself somehow into this town. I guess totally physically. So
She
that's-
Oh,
Or at
says
least
one quick
physically.
thing.
she doesn't plan on doing that. She plans on flying over it, but then that's not what happens. She does just appear. Like someone's visiting her sister's house and she just turns around and like, hey, it's me, sis. And we get reveal moment of her going from me and Triv talked about this pre-recording, but hold my jewelry to the car. We're flying to France, bitches. We're gonna fly over my podunk town, and then poof, she's in her sister's house.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff where they allow it just enough to throw that swerve on you where yes, they talked to her in that news report. Yes, people were talking to her in the town. She's everybody knows to not go out to the park for the was it Father's Day or whatever
Founders
day
Day
it was
picnic.
for the Founders Day. So they're gonna go to the community hall or the high school gymnasium or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of throws that swerve where if you're not paying attention to some of the things that are happening, like once again, like the Sixth Sense, we keep repeating that, but if you're not paying attention, you will never see that ending coming because they're throwing just enough in there to go, why is she having these visions? Why is it people telling her to do things? And then there's also things where people are, talking to her. If we all knew she was dead from the beginning, that would have kind of thrown away the whole ending. But I
Mhm.
actually did have one thing. Apparently, Bing Russell was in this episode. He, of course, is the father of Kurt Russell, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And he was
I
the
don't know where
TV.
he plays.
He was the TV anchor guy.
Oh, is
I
that who it
think.
is?
Yeah, I think so.
The Ben guy. Okay,
Yeah.
He
so I
was
thought it
on
was
the
kind of.
main
I didn't
lead.
realize that was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just looking on the on Wikipedia, the forefront of all knowledge. It says
Right.
on the what is this? On the plot synopsis, I think. Yeah, on the plot. It says that after they talk about that she walks out and quietly vanishes in the rain. Police officer calls, and it says the anchorman notes that many of the townspeople were in the auditorium waiting to see Bunny's show, and that they would have died had they gone to the picnic because the jetliner crashed on the grounds. Hildy finds Bunny's ring, which has fallen to the floor and is now chipped and charred, and she realizes that Bunny had predicted her impending death in the plane crash and had come in spirit via the ring to save her friends and family. Now, this is Wikipedia, so somebody wrote that, so that's possibly someone's opinion, but that's what Wikipedia. She came there in spirit via the ring.
But the ring was sent to her, so how did the ring get back to the sister? That's kind of weird, but yeah.
It teleported via love.
Sure.
Oh, it's also charred and
heart.
burned too. That's
Yeah,
Right.
I did mention that when I was trying to explain this
The
episode to
ring
my
has a will of
roommate.
its own.
He's like, "Oh, maybe the plane rerouted." Like, she lives in a town with 1,000 people. They don't have an airport that lands a Boeing 747. Like, that's not what happened.
Well,
Like,
one thing that they did
Precious.
talk about, like
Think it
when
too
she was
hard.
in her bedroom. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what we
not
do.
you. I was
No, just
joking around.
generally. But I do think
Yeah,
that like when she was in the room, she's like, well, you know what? I want to go to Howardsville. She kind of talks about it and stuff. So first time I saw this, I kind of assumed that as compared to jumping the plane to Italy, she jumped the plane to Howardsville instead. And we all know how you can fly in bus or car or whatever to get where you need to go. So I kind of assumed that was the case, that she had gone to Howardsville as compared to Italy, and then she was gonna, hop on another plane and get there when she needed to get there. But
yeah, I didn't think knowing the ending going in, I didn't think about the transportation until my roommate brought it up when I was
Right.
trying to explain the episode to him. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Howardsville is a suburb of fucking Chicago and there's an airport 10 feet away. I don't know.
The suburb of Italy.
yeah,
it's
Of Italy.
yeah. This actually takes place in Howardsville, Italy.
Yeah.
Howardsville, Virginia, by the way, is actually a real place. So I don't know.
Really?
Look it up. Yeah, it's actually a real popular culture. What does it say? It was the station is safety home of Montecola, which is closed by featuring Virginia, Fred McMurray, and Madeline Carroll, and Ring a Ding Girl. So I think it was just a
Behind
place
you
that looked
guys,
nice.
of course, my favorite podcast is Small Town Murder, so I will have to see if there's any murders that took place in Howardville that I can recommend to the podcast.
Howardsville is right
Just
next
check to see if there's a plane
Clippersville
crash.
Yeah, there
and
you go.
Willoughby.
Oh, there you go. That's probably
Exactly.
right on. I did have a question, and this is kind of random, but the fact that it was like downpouring. One of the things that kind of got me with this episode was like there's this massive storm coming in, and then there's the plane crash thing. One or the other, like, would have been enough to, like, if it's raining, no one's gonna sit at that picnic. Like, they would have gone inside anyway.
The real question is William Shatner on the plane?
You know what?
Is this
Yes.
a sequel
down.
to?
They shot the
Yeah, is
engine.
this a sequel to? Right?
Triv, you bring up a
Terrible.
great fucking point. I didn't think about that. It was
The rain.
pouring rain that she just appeared into. Who the fuck would be standing in the field anyways?
They had
I
tents.
mean, yeah, you
That
have the
makes
Die
it-
Hard.
it
Once
makes
again,
nobody would it.
once again, if you think about it too hard, your brain will fall apart.
Yeah,
No, I don't disagree, but it feels like they were trying to do like, because when it's been a while since I've watched it, so going back to rewatch it, I was thinking, oh, is it like, was there a flash flood that took out everybody and she got them inside to get them away from that? Like either the plane crash would have been a good bit or the storm causing some kind of catastrophe.
Or I know this is gonna sound stupid, and maybe this is, but was the rain? Was it even supposed to rain that day? And just because it's a weird thing of like maybe it wasn't supposed to rain that day and because she's there, it
It
rains.
rains.
You know, I don't know. Yeah, I
Possibly.
mean I know that's kind of stupid to think about, but
Nick, what was your memory of this episode? Jacob said he didn't remember a lot of it, but
oh, I remember.
in
You know,
Triv said she didn't remember the reason for the disaster, but what did you remember?
here's how I remember. I remember very vividly when I started watching this episode, and she gets to the house, and then she looks at the ring, and I'm like, oh, right, right. I knew exactly where this was heading because I actually had watched this episode like a couple years ago, and that's how I remember. I remember, oh yeah, yeah, right, right. She's gonna disappear, the plane's gonna crash, and so I remember this episode very, very well. That's why I remember going, oh, I just didn't remember the name of the episode. So when I talked last week, I'm like, oh, there's an episode called Ring a Ding Girl. I don't know if I remember that episode very well, and I'm like, oh, right, right, right. So this episode is one of those I've seen quite a few times. I just forgot that it was called Ring a Ding Girl. So
You want to know a terrible thing? I don't know why when we found out that
I
we were
always
going to
want
be
to know
doing
terrible
Ring
things.
when I found out we were doing Ring a Ding Girl next, for some reason my brain went to whatever episode Carol Burnett was in. All I could think was, God, is it another Carol Burnett episode where she's like a showgirl or something? Like it comes off like something that's not this.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
angel
weird.
one. What's that called? Jacob, help me. You know what it's
Don't
called.
have me.
Touched by an angel.
Cavendish is coming.
The Carol Burnett episode.
Cavendish is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain went to that being this episode, but yeah, random tangent, but
Yeah, my idea of what Ring a Ding Girl no, I was joking about prostitute, but no, my idea of Ring a Ding Girl was completely different. I completely forgot. I don't know. I was thinking about like it was about like a girl on a television or something like that. I don't know what I was thinking about, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I remember this episode pretty well. When I started watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, right, right, right. I know this episode.
I don't remember
But
shit.
that's okay.
yeah, that's me most days, so don't feel bad. I don't remember shit half the time, so I just go with it. Anyways, so right, like teardrops. Is that how it is?
Mm-hmm.
Teardrops.
I bless the rains down in Africa.
Um.
Gonna take
So
some time to
with
do
that
some
said,
grading.
like
Ooh,
you're terrible. You're terrible. No,
Well,
I'm
he
kid-
tries
right. But I mean, we've talked about the episode pretty much in whole for the most part. Like I said, I like the individual ideas of what's happening. Like she sees the custodian. She basically gets all this information, which is kind of a way of telling her she's giving herself the information. If you think
I
about
do
it, that's
have
kind
a
of what the ring
question about the
represents.
scene with the custodian.
Oh.
Is he just fucking with her? Because she's like, hey, as a hot girl, it'd be really cool if you could just like leave the door open and I could just have a show here. And he talks to her for like 3 minutes of our 23 minutes and then ends it with
Nah,
you
bitch.
know we don't like the door, bitch. Like just come in. What are we why is this scene
She was like, "Hey, you get your damn hands off me."
yeah. But she's like, oh,
Damn
it'd be
right.
really cool if you could keep the door unlocked. And after 3 minutes of her fake flirting with him, he's like, yeah, we don't lock the door because it's not 2020 and we don't have massive school shootings, so we don't care. Just come in and
Yeah, this
use
is a
our
very
story.
60s episode.
Oh, very much.
Yeah, between that, the way they talk, yeah, it's a very 60s episode. It's the most 60s feeling episode I've seen in quite a while, which is kind of funny, but
Yeah, the whole thing with the custodian's so fucking weird because she's just like, no, we don't lock the door anyways. Why is this scene existing?
well, no, the best part about this episode is when when Bunny kind of figures out what's going on, she says goodbye to her sister, but her sister is on the phone, and we see the guy at the telephone booth or the phone booth going, "Hey, there was a plane. It crashed. I found your sister and the next person that was right next to her." I'm like, you don't hear any sounds of the plane crash. I think you kind of hear some like medical vehicles, but I'm pretty sure of a plane crash, you wouldn't be find the body because it happens so quickly. Like they hear the plane crash, and all of a sudden there's a phone call like 10 seconds later. Hey, we found your sister on the ground. She's dead. I'm like,
Yeah, he just
I'm
said
pretty sure
he was
she
like,
would not be there.
Bunny's dead. Bunny
It's better than that. It's your sister, Bunny.
dead.
Bunny Blake is dead. It's
he's
like
sending a one of the messages in the Old West. It's like as few words as possible. Your sister,
Right?
Bunny, dead.
oh, with like a telegraph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop. Bunny,
Yeah, it's like Three
stop.
Amigos.
Blake.
Dead.
Yeah, they only had 5
Is
pesos.
anyone else disturbed by the fact that Triv's like default is smiling? So she's like, "Your sister is dead." Giant fucking smile.
No, this is my giant smile. This
Yeah,
is-
that's
this is my
what
resting
it
Triv,
is.
Triv likes the
You're
I
Triv loves
do.
the macabre.
Your
I love
sister
horror
is
movies.
dead, and then you just had your that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you know,
that-
you can
Oh,
have
you
you
should
can
see-
always look on the bright side of life.
Sure.
You should have seen her when we were talking about Picasso.
Yeah. That's a different
Picasso?
thing for a different day. Yeah.
Yeah, Trivcasso.
Yeah.
So, Jacob,
Picasso. Yes.
Jacob, my friend, if Rod was going to sum up this episode, how do you think he would do so?
Well, no, we're not finished talking about the episode.
Oh, we're
we'll get to that in a
not?
second. No, we're not done.
I'm trying to get you back to work, Nick.
We still have like 20 minutes. We're
Okay,
good.
baby.
Don't worry.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
you
not-
told me
it's-
that
No,
when you
no.
had
I
too
said we
many
had to be
ladies
done
on
by midnight.
episode, it took
And
an
I'm sorry,
hour to move the episode 1
I blame
in
Triv.
ratings.
Let's just blame Triv.
So,
That's okay. I'm the one
it's
that
all your
pushed
fault.
it. So
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
know. I know.
No. You know, I'm kidding.
you guys
No,
are
no. I just want to know you guys like.
episode, so I'm trying to help you out.
No, I appreciate that. Don't worry. I appreciate it. I just wanted to finish. Like I said, it finishes with her disappearing. I love this idea of like Hildy looking around, going, "Where the fuck's my sister at? Where is she?" And then, her son is like, "What the hell's going?" Like everybody's like, "What the hell just happened?" It's one of those things where they're gonna be talking about it for the rest of their life. And Jacob, I know you allude to the fact that you like how the last 8 minutes went because it made it a much better episode. But like, how do you guys feel about the ending? Like the actual ending, does like the implications of like, is it something that kind of like, oh crap, that's kind of a pretty cool written idea? Like, what do you guys think?
I thought it was solid. It definitely, like you said, it compared to a lot of our more recent episodes, this one definitely falls more into what would traditionally be considered Twilight Zone, I think.
I think so. I really think the last few minutes is what really sold the episode for me. Like, and what's her name? Maggie McNamara. I think she did
Maggie McNamara.
She played. Okay, so the whole episode, her name is Barbara Bunny Blake. Let me get deep here. I feel like the whole episode she was playing Bunny. But then the last last minute, she suddenly was Barbara. And it's like she was playing a character, and then she was really real in the last couple of minutes when she realized what was happening, and she just kind of was like goodbye, and like walked out, and like I don't know, that was like some like legit acting. And I'm not saying, and we've talked about this before, Twilight Zone has bad acting. It just has acting of the time, TV acting of the time. It is what it is. But then when we come across a performance that even though most of her performance for most of the episode was just kind of what you expect from Twilight Zone, she was playing Bunny. But in the last few minutes when she kind of like ratcheted up and dropped the act and became like the actual character, it seemed really real, and I really appreciated that performance. Kind of like a Purple Testament. It just suddenly the performance was elevated above everything else. And I mean, the implication behind the performance as well. I just thought it was executed extremely well. The twist is what it is. It's not awful by any means. It's a good twist. And it definitely gets you talking. It got us talking, and we could probably talk for a long time, even longer on it. But I think that the twist alone is not what made it, but the actual performances and execution of the twist is what really did it for me.
Yeah, I really liked the walk into the rain, even if, as we said, the rain does kind of ruin the plot. But just her accepting her fate and walking into something else and walking into the distance, disappears,
It didn't
makes
totally ruin it. Because I mean, it started raining right before that.
yeah,
Like, it
so
was
I
just
guess
started, so
people
people
would
could have
have
been like
shown
running
up
away.
anyways, not knowing it was gonna rain. But
Yeah,
we
plane
talked
crashed
about
right after it started raining
yeah,
because apparently planes can't fly in rain back in the 60s.
yeah. But well, you want to have a picnic in the rain, but
Yeah,
but
right, right.
but yeah, her just walking into the rain and her other her, I don't know how it actually works, as we said, walking into the acceptance of this is over. I did what I had to do, and just walking into the distance and disappearing is a really powerful thing that
Yeah.
occasionally Twilight Zone does, and gives us our twist of immediately jump cutting into, oh, by the way, she's dead.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Once again, Maggie McNamara was nominated for an Oscar for The Blue Moon or Moon is Blue, which I've never heard of. So
Can't say I have either, but that doesn't say much.
Well,
it's
yeah.
Otto Pem, yeah, greatest movie ever, directed
Great.
by Otto
Best movie ever.
Preminger.
Oh, Premature,
Uh,
yeah.
Preminger. William Holden, David
Really does.
Nevin, Maggie McNamara.
I got that on the shelf too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Jacob's like,
Probably
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Probably did have that, honestly. But anyway.
Yeah, no, David Nevin has the like one of the best moments where he was on the Oscars and he was the streaker guy that
Oh,
ran
yeah.
across the stage. Yeah, I think that was David Nevin's moment. But anyways, all right, Raymond, we're at that point. Please
Hey,
proceed.
Jacob.
Hey.
If Mr. Rod Serling was going to describe Bunny Blake as a person in a ending narration type of style, how would he do so?
Well, I'm happy you asked. He'd probably do it something like this. We are all travelers. The trip starts in a place called birth and ends in that lonely town called death. And that's the end of the journey, unless you happen to exist for a few hours, like Bunny Blake, in the misty regions of the Twilight Zone.
Man, that's a deep. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a deep fucking closing narration.
You know, that would
We
be,
we
and not
started
to,
birth. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, not to get all morbid and stuff while I smile very largely, but that would be a really good kind of like eulogy.
No, that's gonna be on my headstone.
It's gonna be a
And
lot
Right
of
next
words
to-
on your headstone.
Thank God they
How
finally
in-
came out with Twilight Zone Funkos.
How intentional is the ending narration for the plot and how you're supposed to think about it? Because normally it's just like, and they were in the Twilight Zone, boo. Like, but like this ending narration explains the episode.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you get some deep ones though. And Rod Serling is certainly known for being quite a wordsmith when it comes down to it. I mean, you know, whether he was or no, I guess it wasn't Serling that wrote this. It was Ellen.
Well, I mean, yeah. Who knows if like Serling writes these narrations or
Yeah,
not,
who
or
knows
if
who
it's
does the
Earl
narration?
Hamner.
And we're in
Who knows?
156
The Shadow knows.
episodes of this show, but this one is like, oh, that's what was happening. We spent half the time talking about what's going on, and the narration's like, sometimes you just get some time to step outside of your life and do things that you can do if you want to do. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, then that's like a good like closing narration from Rod Serling does kind of do what this does. And if you had questions, okay, well, this is my answer to you.
I mean, it could have been like Bunny Blake, the ring-a-ding girl in the Twilight Zone, and Ross is like, "Hell no, we ain't doing that shit. You better write something better." He's like, "All right, we're all travelers. The trip starts in a place called birth." So
Yeah, well, Probe
Yeah, who-
7, Probe 7, you guys did a couple weeks ago, did that too, and said, yeah, we know this is an Adam and Eve elegy, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's the Twilight Zone. So they did it a couple weeks ago.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it was well
All
done
right.
in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Did you guys have anything else you want to say on the episode before we get to the last segment?
I'm just gonna say that that was really insightful on Jake's part with the, she was kind of playing a character. She was kind of playing a character for a good chunk of the episode, and then the last couple minutes she was like her true self. I hadn't thought about that. That was really cool.
She's who people expect her to be. Hey, I'm Bunny Blake, Hollywood asshole.
It was Bunny.
But it draws everybody, but she's doing it for a reason because that's what people want, and it draws people into her.
Yep.
And that's what saved people. And yeah, that's just insane.
It's good shit, man. Very good shit.
In the end, we are like Bunny Blake.
And then we're all dust in the
At the
wind,
end of our death.
like Bunny Blake was with the plane crash.
That's what Triv's gonna have on her headstone.
My
headstone's gonna
yeah,
say.
exactly. All right, so let's do it. Let's get into the last portion, which is the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest ranking list ever known by man. Fuck.
Okay, do you want to know where it was placed?
Oh
Pace
yeah,
had it-
yeah, sure.
Yeah, send me a
course we
list, Nick.
It's interesting.
I did. It's on Twitter.
Oh, it's on Twitter.
It's interesting because they're actually quite different. Like one is kind of where it was like the past couple have. The other one jumped all over the place. So Pace had it at 94, which over the past several episodes, they've all kind of been in that like lower like 90s to about 110. IMDb though had it at 55. So relatively speaking, ranked it very high.
Me personally, Jacob's gonna like this. I would put this above Perchance to Dream.
Oh my god.
42.
And I'm not even joking. Like I legitimately think this is a really good episode. I think if you don't think, I think if you start thinking about it, it'll fall apart. But I think sometimes episodes like that are good. And I think sometimes if they are,
I
just-
do
no,
like
yeah.
this episode. I like this episode. Obviously, I'm not a member of the podcast and requested to be on for this episode. So it's something I like. But I also requested to be on 4 o'clock, which I wanted to put at last. So don't take that as a indication of whether I like it or not. But
Raymond, you don't know our list very well anymore, do you?
yeah,
We don't have any rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah,
And I would
do-
add real quick that 4 o'clock was at 129 out of 132. So it's pretty damn close to the bottom.
I do fought hard to push that to the bottom. I hate that episode so fucking much.
It's not great.
And
Anyways,
no,
what
Nick,
were you
I'm
saying,
not
Jacob?
being on black leather jackets unless you ask me really nice. But I do like this episode. I think it's I like this episode. I think it's an interesting conversation to have with people of what was going on, and most of our conversation was that, like, does she know the what Jacob brought up of she being a jerk to be a jerk, or is that her, or is she saving people, or what? And I really like this episode. I want to put it up there high in the 30s, but
What
go
about
ahead.
you, Jacob? What are you gonna say?
I think maybe I don't mean this in a negative way. I think you guys probably liked the episode a little bit more than I did. I enjoyed the episode. I really did. I thought it was definitely one of the better ones that we've watched recently. I think like I said, the last quarter of it brought it full circle, brought it around, which I mean, that's fine. But I think most of the episode, like I said, I thought was just kind of like, yeah, it's fine. And then that last quarter happened and it really retroactively not fixed, but made the rest of the episode more interesting to me. I think I do disagree with you on, you said that if you think about it too much, it falls apart. I don't think so. I think they did a really good job of, like I've mentioned.
I mean, yeah, right.
I think that they left things vague enough to where there's no contradictions. They did kind of like a Back to the Future. You know, they show you the machine, but they don't tell you how it works. So you really can't
Right.
say it can't do this or it can't do that. We gave you enough to understand what it can do, not how it does it. So I think that they did
Right.
that here to where at the end you understand basically what happens. You don't just necessarily understand exactly how it happened. So it's up to us to just kind of ponder and wonder. But there's nothing in it
I guess.
for the most
Uh-huh.
part. There's nothing in it that contradicts. Even some of the questions I had about why would she get on the plane, that's not a contradiction. That's a contradiction if we're assuming that she knew she was going to die. But like I said, I don't think she knew she was going to die. So I don't think there's anything in the episode that necessarily contradicts itself. So I don't think that it falls apart. I just think there's a whole lot of questions as to what the hell's going on.
Well, I
At the
think
end
I
of the day,
meant
the
it.
answer is the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That
I
is
think. I
very
guess I
true.
just think maybe falls apart just on those simple facts of like, the rain. How'd she get there? Because Raymond got up a good point about how, she's kind of there. It with like there wouldn't be a. I get the airport would probably be like several miles away or something like that. It's just stuff like that
I think she
where
did
if you start
appear.
getting into the
She
well, no,
ultimately
but
did
like
appear.
Just appears
And they don't know that. Nobody else knows.
and I had this conversation with my roommate, like I said, like, oh, did she just get a different flight? Like, no, she lives in a town of 1,000 people. There's no airport there. Like, there's no, like, the other people in the story have no reasonable reason to believe she just showed up one day.
When and a lot of them are
So,
like, "Oh, what are you doing here? Why are you here?" She's like, "Oh, I just wanted to come home." They didn't like say they don't know that she was. I'm assuming just a few minutes ago in Los Angeles in an airport. Like she just they have no idea. They just for all they know, oh, she arrived on a plane in neighboring city and drove over here.
and the real her is flying, literally, because we know how it ends. Fucking, she's literally flying over the town, going to France. Like we know what she's actually doing, so it's so weird.
Her destination was always the town. Either way,
No, her destination was the Twilight Zone, Jacob.
Also true.
it's just also ironic
Touche.
that she crash lands in her hometown.
Yeah, okay,
Only in
we gotta get over that. How fucking insane it is that out of every square mileage of the United States, that the plane she was on crashes into the only populated part of her entire state. Like
So you're missing the forest for the trees, or however
we
they
can't
say
talk
it.
about
She
that.
clearly was playing Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, so she knew exactly where she was headed.
Yeah.
She's
She was
like,
she was because everybody who plays that immediately goes to their house, and as they try to find their
Right.
house, they crash into the ground.
she's like,
Right.
fuck you
So-
for Factory Street, Union
I've
Springs,
done
New
that.
York. Bah!
Where is my is that my house? I think that's oh shit, fuck. I've done that.
She missed the house and actually crashed landed into the field or
Yeah.
the. Anyways, back to the list. So do you want to rank this lower, Jacob? Is that what you're looking at?
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying I think you guys were like I think we all really enjoyed the episode, but I don't know.
You just not as much as we did. Yeah, I get that.
I think I did, especially as we talk, I start liking it even more. I just I think it's because for most of the episode I was thinking it was just kind of like whatever, and then it really the end really like brought it together. And I literally was watching this as I came on. Like when I came on to this meeting Zoom chat, I was listening to the ending narration, trying to. It got really loud when I unmuted you guys, but
Imagine that.
I was
was all coming through the same
rewatching
speakers,
it for little inputs as we talk too. So
Jacob got really loud as he was coming up.
No, like
Damn you, Jacob.
I didn't really have a lot of time to process it beyond Literally, I watched it and then jumped on here, which I usually watch them earlier.
That's
in the
fine.
Today was a holiday, so
Triv, what about you?
No, I really enjoyed this episode. I think the more we talk and stuff, I mean, my thoughts on this, like as far as like the things that don't work again, they were always pretty small. It's bits like the rainstorm and the airplane kind of running side by side, bits like that. They're in the grand scheme, that's not the point of the episode. The writing could probably have been a little tighter on small details, but it's a small thing. But no, the story was good. You know, it's a tale of sacrifice, really. You know, giving the love back to the people that love you the most. That's the most noble thing you could probably do. I do believe that at some point she may not have known that she was going to die, but I do think that she was following the ring as she went along, knowing that there was something bad that was going to happen to her people, and like the ring kind of put her in the direction that she needed to go. She went to her sister. She went to the broadcast guy. She went to the, you know, each thing gave her a step as to which direction she needed to go. So that's my kind of thought. I can't tell you when she knew, like if she knew she was going to pass, you know, until she looked in the ring and saw herself. But I think it's a solid episode. Everything that I saw on IMDb as far as reviews, there were very few that were under an 8, and they all, you know, there was a lot of good to this. And in its own right, it is quite a classic Twilight Zone episode.
the ring does have a will of its own.
In this case, yeah. And it kind of took the love of the community and brought it back into her.
I probably put this above like Time Enough at Last.
I guess I never said where I'd put it, did I? Oops.
Neither did
You
I,
said
don't
many
worry.
things, it's true.
Yeah. Where
She's
is
lots of
Time Enough
words.
at Last?
Me
So
too.
35?
35. Yeah.
Let me look here.
Generally, yeah, I think I could put it there.
Maybe below the silence, above Time Enough at Last, somewhere in there.
Yeah. I don't know that I would go into the 20s. Like, I think I'd be good with
No.
I would be good with putting it
I
above
like it,
Time
but I
Enough
don't
at
like it that
Last.
much.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But there's the one with the on Thursday we leave for home, which was the guy who
The guy
on
who's
the
in charge of
planet with
people in
the asterisk.
Yeah.
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 I probably put this below He's Alive, above Howling Man. 'Cause I like this actually better than I don't know. I mean, it's about that for me.
Which one was He's
Where'd
Alive?
Raymond go?
That's
I'm not
the
sure.
hour, the first or second hour long. Isn't
Oh,
it?
that one was the Nazi, like the guy, like the Nazi guy.
Yeah,
that,
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah, I wouldn't go above He's Alive, I don't think.
So like right above Howling Man
Yeah, I
or
think
below
so.
Howling Man.
Yeah.
I could do.
Do we
that.
want to go above or below the small cane?
The which one?
The small
the small-
cane.
the
I know
small
what you're
cane.
Oh,
talking
the
about.
Howling Man. Sorry. Brain not
Yeah, the
working.
itty bitty cane. This is what's keeping the devil back.
I mean, so the Howling Man is kind of, if you look at it like what it brings, the Howling Man is kind of a downer, has a downer ending, which makes sense given everything. But I think
Well,
that
this one has
is
a downer ending too. So
It does, but it's the sacrifice is noble and for people that she loved.
Executed
So-
really well too.
yeah.
I honestly, I mean, I know Nick loves the Howling Man, and I appreciate that. That's why
I
I'm
love it in my
honest
own
about
little
it.
way. So
I'm not
So
a big
Raymond,
Howling Man
as you-
fan.
I know. Raymond, we were discussing. So we're up to between He's Alive and Howling Man, like above Howling Man or
32 and
below Howling
33.
Man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I put it in the 30s. That was my
Well, that's where we're at
initial
right now. Yeah.
thought, but let me look at exactly.
33. Ugh, excuse me, 33.
I'm not a huge fan of He's Alive just because, like, they telegraph the ending from a mile away, and I know Jacob's a big ending guy. Howling Man, I've always liked. It's a episode, and I've said this on your guys' like social media stuff of like it's a good beginner episode of like, hey, this is what Twilight Zone is. If you're trying to introduce someone into a 60-year-old television program,
Yeah.
because you're an insane person like we are.
You must watch them all.
Yeah. But you gotta introduce them with a Howling Man or Old Man in the Cave, like that.
I'm just gonna leave it this. I'd rather introduce people to this episode than Howling Man, to be honest. I think this would be a better Twilight Zone episode, but
No, I will disagree on that because because people will just think, she's a bitch, and then did one good thing at the end, and people won't understand that that she's
So
not ghost or whatever.
See, I don't see her as a
yeah.
bitch though. Like she's assertive and she's very like
Hollywood.
very Hollywood. But
She's just very
Her
starlet, very
sister
Hollywood
thinks
starlet.
she
Yeah,
is.
Charlotte.
I don't think she
Her-
does though.
Yeah.
I think her sister sees like she's probably the kind of person that was always kind of out and about and very extra. And I think that that's
Yeah.
just one of those things that she sees in her. I mean, she grew up with her, you know?
Probably
Yeah.
always been big, larger than life.
Yeah, that would be my thought on the subject.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. So
The only other thing I wanted to bring up with this episode is Jacob thing of on what's the fucking show called he brings up all the time?
Tales from the
Jesus
Crypt?
Christ. He tells from the crypt. There was a guy that uploaded every episode of Tales from the Crypt to YouTube and would spoil the episode by saying he's a ghost, whether the person wasn't or not. But he would spell ghost GOAST. He would say he was a goat ghost. So, and this is the episode I'm like, I mean, she's a ghost? Kinda? Not really? But yeah.
Ghost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to. I basically only asked to be on this episode to see Jacob giggle at that joke. But yeah, anywhere in the 30s is great by me. That's where I would put this.
So
I really like this episode. I think the like personality change of, as we talked the entire time, how when did she realize she has to sacrifice herself to help people?
I don't think it was
thing,
until she
and-
saw the final thing, the final vision. 'Cause in the
possibly.
vision, they said that it was the plane was.
Yeah.
They mentioned it in that vision, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
they're
going to be
like,
going through some
like,
turbulence.
yeah, they're like, things are bad, aren't you worried? And she's like, isn't everything worried? But she's talking about, isn't everyone worried that they're going to die one day? And they're talking about, isn't everyone worried about a little turbulence? So, yeah, anywhere around there. I don't like He's Alive, so nothing in the dark I really like, so I'd put it as 32.
I think that's where we were kind of talking about was 32 was kind of the point of it. No, we were putting at 33. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. So yeah, I guess I'm good anywhere between 31 and 33. I mean, I think that it's for me, I know that Howling Man is a more well-known episode, but I feel like this one is also it does I see it as more than just a general Twilight Zone episode. It does have a lot to offer. It's not in the same way, but it does still bring up a lot of those questions. That a good, if you sit down and it raises good stuff and promotes conversation and all the rest.
Yeah, I think it's a good conversation episode, like Little People is of
Yeah.
like hey, take advantage of people literally smaller than you and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well, and I think that one spot, one way or the other, and I'm not
Yeah.
downplaying what you're saying, Raymond, but I think that in the grand scheme, it's one spot. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm
Jacob.
team new 32.
I think it's better than Howling Man. I like it better than Howling Man. I'm gonna lie, I like He's Alive. Probably same level, ever so slightly more, just because I thought it did some interesting things. I do think it jumped the gun, or I feel like studio made him show who's alive and he's alive earlier than they should have. But beyond that, I thought that it was an interesting episode that did some neat little things. If this is above He's Alive, I'm fine with it. But if it was my list and only mine, I'd probably put it at 33. But if we did 32, I'm not going to be mad about it. I've never fought anybody for that spot.
I'm really. It doesn't matter to me. We could do it either way. So
Nobody.
I mean,
Nobody
initially we'd said 33, so should we just make it
Nobody
33?
got the joke.
I'm sorry.
yeah, because I do like. The problem is I like He's Alive. I more than. So yeah, I would put it at 33.
Okay. I'm outvoted. 33
Been
did.
voted off the island, Raymond.
It happens.
But
I'll
with
see you
love.
guys when I try to put black leather
When we get
jackets
to
number one.
yeah, when we get the black leather jackets, you'll be you can
So is
fight
that
for
like a
number
really
one.
good
So
episode or a really bad episode?
There's a good chance
It's
that
the
one of us.
worst episode ever. It's
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of
156
them.
before we even get to
Yeah.
156 episode. It's terrible.
right.
I hear you guys talk about it a lot, but like I feel as if there's
I don't remember the
bit of
episode at all.
cynicism.
So
It's always in the bottom of most people's lists, so that's why I don't remember it all either.
gonna be
But
no one.
Let's just say when I
Um,
told my Uncle Mike that I was covering the grave in
Oh.
season 2, he said, "Oh, are they gonna make you watch Black Leather Jackets? Because that's the worst episode ever." And that was
Yeah.
like 100 episodes ago. So
right. Okay, so with that said, new number 33 is Ring a Ding Girl. Number 1 is Eye of the Beholder. Number 100 and was it 32 at this point? 33. Trouble at Templeton.
and
Hey,
don't
I know you
forget
guys want
number
to.
110, which is a piano in.
The house.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah, they're terrible.
And scene. Jake is now orgasming.
Nick,
Oh,
go to
Jesus
work.
Christ, Drew. No, I gotta. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and head out. Actually, next episode is another Earl Hamner episode. It's You Drive, directed by John Brom, written by Earl Hamner Jr. Stars Edward Andrews, Helen Westcott, Kevin Hagen. So we'll look forward to that. Raymond, sorry about the quick speed of this episode. I'm gonna try and get you on for something good like The Mask or something like that, so we'll figure it out. I'll text you later on, but I know you post content more than most of us, so where's that at?
Raymond, I think it's at RAYHS 1984 on YouTube. Raymond H. Smith on the Twitters. Yeah, but by the way, Nick, you're gonna love. I reviewed a Dante's Peak ripoff called Volcano.
Nice.
Oh, all right. So this is the last episode Raymond's gonna be on. So anyway,
No, it's not
Tri-
Volcano. It's called Volcano Fire on the Mountain. And
Asylum.
it's called Volcano Fire on the Mountain. It was released in 1997, just like Volcano in Dante's Peak was, but it's the exact plot of Dante's
Asylum.
Peak, but it's called Volcano, and it is fucking crazy. And has Dan
Asylum.
Cortez, who was MTV sports reporter, as the love interest.
Well, that's always a good
There
start
you
for
go.
it, I'll tell you.
Hey.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, Triv content. Where's that?
Here on Trivial Theater, you can find me at here on YouTube. I do wide array of random, obscure, and straight up bad movies. When this comes out, I will either be doing Riffstravaganza, which is short form riffs with a variety of collaborators and or friends of the channel, or I'll be doing normal reviews. So stop in for one or the other. There's probably going to be some good stuff. So
Excellent. What about you, Jacob?
I'm Jacob Enders. You can find me at Retro Jake XY on YouTube. The variety of retro video gaming videos
In stuff.
Oh my god.
hooray!
and stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does
tell
stuff
me-
with his things
Sometime.
very, very soon.
I almost
just don't
reviewed a
blue
movie.
ball his channel. Oh my god.
I thought about it.
Was it called Borderlands?
That was no. I thought about it, and then I was like, nah, nah. So anyway,
Oh my god.
who knows?
yeah.
Maybe one day.
With me, you can find my stuff at Movie Emporium, Snowpiercer still, these podcasts as well. Probably Beetlejuice coming out. I'll probably have a review for that, most
Ooh, I wanna
likely.
see
We'll
that.
see.
Woo.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. I hear it's pretty
Supposed
good,
to be.
actually. I heard
Supposed to be
it
good.
actually, yeah. We'll see. They said that about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I fucking hate that movie. So,
Come
yeah,
on, it wasn't that
Anyways,
bad.
it
Ghostbusters
wasn't as bad
Afterlife
as
was
Frozen
alright.
Empire, but
No, that
it wasn't as
good.
bad as Frozen Empire.
Oof.
Better than Ghostbusters
But anyways,
2016.
which I actually enjoy. We'll talk about that.
I
For a
know.
different one. Anyways, so without further ado, we're gonna head out to the Twilight Zone pasture for the time being. But for myself, Triv, Jacob, and Raymond, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
Bye. You froze. I'm
I see
guessing.
that.
You're frozen.
That or
frozen,
Jacob's really
frozen.
tired today.
Yeah.
He is really tired with a line through his mouth.
Yeah, what's that
Conserving
line?
energy. Don't worry about it.
Okay, hang on a minute.
Are you doing magic tricks first, Jacob? Is that thing where you put the tube through your mouth and goes and what the
I-
other side?